Hello and welcome to the 411 Powered by Age podcast. We are a group of seniors living in Vancouver, BC, and we all belong to the 411 Senior Centre. The producers of the podcast are just about the most diverse bunch of people you could imagine, which is wonderful because that's exactly what a podcast for seniors should be. Coming up in this episode, we'll be talking to the people involved in the 411 Senior Centre, and we'll also be discussing ways to save money as a senior. Coming up first, though, one of our podcast producers, Kathy Gregg, talks to Luke Schuss and Hunok Ryu about the value of intergenerational collaborations.
So this is Kathy Gregg, and I'm interviewing Luke Schuss as part of our Intergenerational Collaboration segment for the podcast. So Luke, I think you'd agree that there's a lot going on here at 33 Terminal, where 411 Seniors is situated on the 7th floor. Because on the 2nd floor, Joel Flynn runs a recording studio called Podstream. Leslie Remond, our executive director, and Joel did a swap, long story, leading to our podcast. And Luke, you helped Joel run his recording business, and you've been sort of in and out of the seniors doing the podcast. Is that so?
Yes, that's correct.
Right. And what did you think when Joel started to hang out with 411 seniors?
What did I think when Joel started to hang out with the seniors? I thought it was a good idea for all parties, particularly with Joel, because I know how well he is at interacting with older crowds, particularly from his music, side career.
Right.
He loves to do the Frank Sinatra crooner songs and...
Oh, I'm learning the dirt here, aren't I?
The dirt?
Yes, his background.
No, well, it's not, there's no... he'll tell you about it. You just have to ask him. No, I thought it was a great idea, and... I remember the first meeting we had with Leslie, or the first meeting I was there at, the energy was just super, super intense in a good way, coming from Leslie. So it was a very natural fit.
And were you there when we did the collaboration with the singers from UBC?
No, I wasn't there for that.
Okay, I didn't think you were. But do you remember what Joel had to say back in February when you guys first started working with us? What were the good points? What were the challenges? Did he have any doubts? Did you have any doubts about working with a bunch of seniors?
No, not really. Myself personally, I've been working with seniors, not in a professional capacity, but certainly my grandparents, all their friends, I've always been the young, capable, technology-minded person in the family, so I'm very, very comfortable working with seniors in that.
Well, it really comes across. And what do you think, what do you get out of this collaboration?
Well, what do I get out of it? I think what really has been the interesting opportunity for us is that both Joel and I are very design-oriented, tech-minded people, and we're used to looking at technology and applications and innovations from a younger perspective, or for a target audience that's a bit younger. And what we've found there's an opportunity is to maybe switch that up and look at how we can apply technology to benefit seniors. Our thinking is that most tech companies don't really pay a lot of attention to the needs of seniors for very simple reasons. They have a shorter customer lifespan compared to a young person.
Right.
So if you're developing an app for an audience, you're going to want them to theoretically lock in as a customer for the rest of their life.
Right.
For example, like a Netflix or a Spotify, the streaming services.
Yeah.
I'm a customer of both of those, and they'll probably have me for the next 50 years, so they can model their numbers around that and design their experiences around my long-term customership. But for a senior who's, has less years to live, theoretically, they don't pay as much attention to that. And there's also a lot less disposable income there for most seniors than there is for a 20-something person. What were we talking about?
No. This is really interesting. I was asking you what you were getting out of the collaboration, and what you're telling me is that you guys are really learning about marketing to a different segment and of the population. And, that seniors don't live as long, so you'd have to go in sort of the waves of senior rather than one individual who's going to live for a long time. Mm-hmm. And figuring out how to adapt the technology for that reality. But on a personal level, like, here we are talking, I'm old enough to be your grandmother. What's that like? Just dealing with us as old folks.
It's pretty normal. It's not something. I don't know how it is for you, but
it's not that normal for me. One of the things that I'm finding is that I miss being around younger people since my retirement. So, Anyway, it's interesting to hear that you have this comfort. It sounds like you've been around seniors to some degree all your life, that you have family connections that have been comfortable for you.
I was thinking about that, and just thinking about living here in Vancouver. I've been here since 2006, so pretty well my whole adult life. And I am comfortable with seniors, but I don't really interact with them a lot in my day-to-day. I don't know why that is. I guess there's not a lot of overlap between the places I go or the activities I do. I think there's also a lack of public space
that brings us together.
That brings people together. There's a lack of public space in this city in general, or in most cities, I would say, all cities. So there's not really a place where young people and older people would naturally overlap.
Right.
The places I think of are maybe like a coffee shop, depending on the neighborhood, or the swimming pool.
Right.
The like the sauna, that kind of thing, the hot tub. I usually go up to Hillcrest School, and that's one.
Oh, yeah.
Or Hillcrest Pool. And that's one place where I see a lot of seniors and talk to them. Unfortunately, I can't interact with them as much because there's lots of different languages being spoken in those situations. So that's another slight barrier.
So it sounds like you're very thoughtful about all this, and I'm saying that just right now, this sounds like a really great intergenerational collaboration that we're having, talking about what divides us, and that actually the podcast, this whole project, is bringing us together. And I'm hoping to have some more conversations like this. But is there anything else you'd like to say?
Yeah, just touching on what we're getting out of it. At this point in the world with technology, I think there's a lot of concern that we've missed the point with these new things that we've created, these, social networking sites or apps or phones, gadgets, whatever. I certainly feel that we've created these things, but they're not actually helping us in our day-to-day lives as much as they could be. And what's interesting with the Senior Center is that with 411, we have an audience there. There's a network of people there that have problems or need help accomplishing tasks, or you name it. And we can look at that as a way to create something using tech that can actually make a difference without having it be too invasive, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I can't believe how much I've learned from listening to you talk about all this. And anyway, thanks for the great interview. Okay.
Cool.
So, Hugh, tell me a little about yourself, your life in Vancouver.
My life in Vancouver. Okay, so I'm pretty new here because I flew in like 1.5 years ago. And I'm doing my PhD at UBC in the field of adult education. And I'm loving every moment in Vancouver. It's so beautiful here. People are really nice. Weather, amazing.
Where are you from?
I'm from South Korea.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
And can you tell me how you became involved with 411 Seniors?
Oh, yeah. Actually, it was a part of leadership program I applied for at UBC.
Yeah.
So we did some month of like workshops and training indoor. And at the end of the program, we were given option of choosing a project out of, I don't know, like several alternatives. And my priority was 401 because I love working with seniors. Yeah.
So when I met you today, I didn't realize that you were actually not part of the musicians that came here back in February. And, we had our storytelling course, and there was a bunch of us that told stories. And then we found out about a month before we performed that all these musicians were going to come, these young musicians were going to come from UBC to back us up. So that was a bit of a surprise for you, too. And what did you think of it?
I mean, it was just beautiful. It was just beautiful. The collaboration between this young generation and then the older, mature generation. That just collaboration was fantastic. And then the fact that the project was done in an art form, the storytelling and musical instruments, that was just beautiful. That was, it's just, mind-blowingly beautiful. There were 2 project managers actually participating in that event that day, and they were so moved by how beautiful that was.
Well, I was one of the storytellers, and I was...
I loved your story.
I was backed up by Tootie.
Yeah.
And anyway, my story was, I don't know, I think a bit sillier than some of the other stories.
No, I loved it.
And it was... and so afterwards, I heard the 2 of the students basically discussing it and saying, because it was about a summer of failed romances in a couple different ways. And I heard them saying, yeah, but she liked both of them. And I thought, oh my God, these 20-somethings they heard my story and they're actually thinking about my life. And I think that was the thing about the storytelling that made it a powerful connector between the generations. And, afterwards I went online and I did a fair amount of, I did my own little literature review to see if I could find out what kinds of collaborations have been happening. And I think ours was pretty unique.
Oh, I think so too. Yeah. I wouldn't say, there have been some intergenerational projects like nursing homes and stuff.
Yeah.
But there wasn't this kind of like very creative, like artistic, musical, like active like form of projects. There haven't been many.
No, and so I agree with you. I think the creative element for both generations, that was a link that defies age, whether you're young or you're old. When the creative spark is happening, it links people.
Totally.
So one of your, just when we were talking earlier, you have an interest in gerontology, you were saying.
Yeah.
And so you would have a fair knowledge of what kind of efforts are made to link young people with their elders. And for you too found this was a unique experience.
Oh, totally. That's one of my future projects. I really want to connect the younger generations with our mature generations.
Yeah.
But because I've studied a little bit more about later life and gerontology, I know that older people can be very active and positive.
Yeah.
But for our young participants, like the UBC undergrad students, it was really shocking. That was really nice shock for them because some of them actually participated in some kind of volunteer work before with the seniors.
Right.
And usually like nursing homes
Yeah.
and like, physically impaired.
Yeah.
So it was pretty depressing for them, that experience, like, working,
Okay,
interacting
this
with
is this is really what
Yeah,
I want to
yeah,
learn about
yeah,
too.
Yeah. So we had a debriefing session after our event, and they were telling me, oh, this is so uplifting. It was really refreshing for them that older people are this active and like they can really contribute and share. I mean, it was really nice experience for them.
Oh, I'm actually thrilled to hear that. Because, we live in a society where youth and seniors are really segregated, and ageism is a reality. And so I think we might be onto something about creative collaborations seem to bridge the gap, and and it cuts through the stereotypes. And
Really.
and also with the storytelling form, it gives a fast way of grabbing a piece of a person's life. So
Yeah. I think it was very like ingenious way of conducting like collaboration between these two generations.
Yeah.
I mean, storytelling, because our older generations can bring so much, right? I mean, they're like vast amount of life experience and the variety of it.
Yeah.
And the young people, interestingly, none of the young participants were majoring in music. They were like engineering students and nursing students.
Okay.
So they are not majoring in music. So it was that kind of their, like talent or hobby.
Yeah.
So it was really refreshing for them to like use their like musical talent for that event too. Yeah.
So are you planning, do you have any ideas for future collaborations that would use some of the things that you've learned?
I mean, like at the moment, I don't have any specific plan, but I would just say if there is any opportunity given to me, I mean, I would love to be in part and be part of it and help as much as I can. Yeah.
One of the things that I'm going to be utilizing from that day is a couple of the other storytellers actually talked about times in their life when they connected or learned from when they were young from an older person. And one of the ones that I thought was really a great story was Taylor Coe's story, where she has this, when she was a feckless 19-year-old, blowing all her money with her friends, and in Calgary, I think it was set, and her landlady takes over and basically offers them room and board for a while, and then later when Taylor was in the hospital, giving birth to her son, the landlady turned out to be the nurse, and Taylor makes this comment, which I'll quote out of the, I'm just blabbing here, but I'll pull out of the original recorded thing of what the older generation would see in a younger person's life that in this case, this woman was empowered to give support. And anyway, I mean, I just think there's such a longer discussion here because I think we live in a society that's really different from when Taylor was young.
Sure.
And that I don't think seniors feel as empowered to help young people as they might have at another time. Anyway, I think that's a whole other area for discussion.
But I think you raised a really important point. I mean, I totally agree that like this society is very ageist, right? And like our seniors have so much to offer to the society, but they are not given the chance to do so. But the project we did, the storytelling and musical performance, that's like a great example of like how seniors can show like what they have, right?
Yeah.
I mean, their life experience and stories. And that's the lesson we can learn from. Yeah, and it's a really pity that our society is not seeing that. I really hope, I kind of hope that I can change, like, as much as I can. I don't know how yet, but like I'm envisioning myself like, contributing at least tiny little bit.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Now, is there anything else you want to add?
I'm very grateful for the seniors in the 411 Senior Center for letting me be part of it. And I hope to, see you or other seniors again, because I really enjoyed it. And I mean, this is like people work. So what matters the most is the people.
Yeah.
And then I've worked with great people.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful.
Yeah. Well, it was great to share the same absolutely stunning experience with you of the collaboration, the storytelling and music, and thanks for your role in it.
Yeah, I mean, my pleasure. It has been a great honor for me.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, this is Frank.
And this is Brian.
And today we're talking with people involved in the 411 Senior Center. Oscar talks about computer classes.
Jane and Judy will share their experiences at the center.
And finally, Lynn chats about how much the Senior Center means to her. I'm talking with Oscar, the computer instructor. You want to tell us a little bit about who you are?
Sure. So my name is Oscar. I came to Canada around a year ago. I'm from Myanmar. Most people don't know where that is, but it's just beside Thailand and India.
And how did you come to be at the 411 Senior Center?
So one of my friends, Redmond, he works at 411. So he was the first guy to introduce me to the Senior Center.
So what do you do here?
So basically, I am the computer instructor. So I have 3 classes: the beginner, intermediate, and the advanced. And I also do one-on-one computer. Oh. And if anyone needs help with anything, I'm there to help. With tablets, phones, or computers.
When are these classes?
For now, I have 3 classes: Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And if you want to schedule a one-on-one session with me, you can talk to Mariko, and she'll get you one-on-one.
Oh, that's good. What have you been teaching in these classes?
Basically, for one-on-one sessions, I just help them with whatever they need. For example, for user, I helped you with their tablet, and the beginners class, I just help them with Windows, Microsoft, PowerPoint, and anything. And also, I help them with opening their email accounts. And
I know a lot of seniors have zero experience with computers, and so you can help us feel more comfortable with modern technology.
Yeah.
And I know in my case, I found that when I started learning a little bit, it turns out there's a whole lot more to learn. How can people learn about computers at the 411?
Yeah, you just schedule an appointment with Mariko, and then she'll get you, and she'll talk to me, and then we can find sometimes that I'm free, and then we just schedule the appointment. Yeah, or either you can join classes on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Oscar.
No problem.
Well, good morning, Jane, and thanks for coming in today. I'd just like to ask you how you came into 411, because you've done extraordinary work here since you've come here to lead the group in ukulele. And so perhaps I'd like you to tell us how you came to 411.
Well, my encounter with 411 was totally a fluke. Everything that's happened here has unfolded as a result of that. I came here to help a friend organize his papers because he was going to lead the choir and was getting the songbooks ready. And then Judy came with me. And then once they rolled the choir in with the ukulele group, he needed some help. So I came to help with the ukulele. At any rate, I came here to help a friend get his songbooks ready for the choir. At the same time, at 411, ukulele lessons were taking place. Once the ukulele lessons were over, the players still wanted to continue playing, so they rolled that group in with the choir. It was too much for him to manage both, so he asked if I would come and give a hand with the ukulele players, which I did. And it was so much fun and a great experience. And then once the choir was finished at Christmas time, they asked me if I would continue working with the ukulele players, and which I was more than honored to do. And it's just been a delight. I love to play the ukulele, and I love teaching. That was my profession before I retired, so I get to have the best of both worlds. And the students are lovely. It's been a wonderful, wonderful, life-affirming, rejuvenating experience.
Okay.
I'm very fortunate.
I guess everyone here is fortunate who's been in your class and to have met you also as a person, especially myself. Before you came in, did you think there were so much of activities here at 411?
I actually had no idea of the range of activities. We looked on the website. Judy and I had a look at the website after initially helping with the choir, and then started to come here more frequently through the ukulele, and Judy taught some classes in Zentangle, and it just was amazing, the range of activities that are going on here, the high degree of participation, the community service. It's really, really remarkable. I wish that the budget was available so that the center could be open 7 days a week, even if just for a couple of hours on the weekend, so we could come and have a coffee and just chat, maybe play cards or something like that. But the work that they're doing with decreasing funding is fantastic, just fabulous.
That's a very interesting idea, what you've just suggested, that it'd be open 7 days a week. I never thought about it, but I think it's worth looking into it because, it's a very comfortable place to come here, and socially, I think everyone seems to be growing in some way as they interact with each other here.
Absolutely, and like this podcast, who would have ever thought that seniors would be able to learn these skills? It's really bringing technology, making it accessible for seniors, and often that's not easily available. So I think it's great. I guess the biggest feature that I see at 411 is the efforts to take people out of could be a very isolated lifestyle, and bring them, like you say, with a social interaction of various sorts, intellectual, emotional, spiritual development, political discussions, the writing programs that you've been involved with. It's really opened up worlds, not just a world, but worlds for the people who participate here. It's really fabulous.
Right. I was talking early on to Judy, like I said, this writing course for me, it's completely transformed me because I've never been involved in any writing course before, and I initially was reluctant to sign up for it because I thought it's only meant for writers. And once I got into it, I realized, wow, I opened up Pandora's box and good things jumped out, and I think so everyone can come in here and find out and try as many courses as they like, and then find out what appeals to them and what helps them to grow most of all.
Absolutely, the work. Well, I've seen you become so invigorated and very happy, very open to share. And like I said, our seniors' years, we can be very, very isolated when we no longer have that interaction at work, or our families are gone, or kids are gone. So it really serves a valuable function in the community.
And it seems to fulfill something which I believe, one of my thoughts that I always say to myself, the best friend you can ever have to be the stranger you have yet to meet.
Well, that's true. It's great to see everybody still growing.
Yeah.
That it's still possible. So senior citizens, it's not just the decline to the end. I really believe it's a time of, as we hope it is, our retirement years where we can pursue new activities. So it's almost like a rebirth time. It's really fabulous.
Yeah,
And so the courses give you that. The different activities and courses that are offered give you that opportunity to rebloom.
Correct. Well, anyway, thank you very much, Jean, for coming in and talking to me about this, because I'm sure me and a lot of seniors share the same sentiments as yourself. And with this podcast, I think we can spread the word further, not only word of mouth like a lot of us do about this place, but it's turning to be a great adventure, I would say, and something which seniors probably never realize they could change even further. Like I said, 411 is fortunately you stumbled here, or you came by chance, but you're here to stay, and very, very grateful.
Thank you for inviting me.
Okay.
Thanks.
You're welcome, Jean.
The final part of our podcast today is the chance to hear some of our members talking about the creative ways to save money, something that is important to all seniors, but especially here in Vancouver, one of the most expensive cities in the world. And so I have a few things that I do to save money, and one is I have subsidized housing, where I get they take 30% of my income, and I have a yearly fare card for $45. And I buy my clothing from thrift shops like Sally Ann and Value Village.
411.
And 411, yeah. And these thrift shops are scattered all over town, and you get some really good designer clothes and also retro fashions and really good in really good condition. With a little care, you can make them your own, or shop at a dollar store for incidentals. Groceries, now look for bargains. I miss out a lot of bargains because I go for convenience rather than shop and compare. Maybe someone could give me pointers on how to shop for groceries without making it the main occupation of my life. Maybe I could make it into a game and get interested in different kinds of food. But then there is such an overload of info, I tend to back off and go back to my old habits. We need something for the slow-moving crowd, people with buggies, walkers, and wheelchairs with wider aisles than most stores for heavy traffic.
For your groceries, I think one of the best things that my husband and I have done is we do the Safeway run every first Tuesday of the month, where everything is Customer Appreciation Day, and it's 10% off your total bill, whether the items are on sale or not. So we always buy items that are on sale, which saves us money in the first place, and then you get another additional 10% off. Another thing is Shoppers Drug Mart, and their Optimum Points program is one of the best loyalty programs in the market today, I think, where it actually gives you back dollars for having spent money at Shoppers Drug Mart. And their prices are good. They're just as good as London Drugs almost all the time. And they also match your prices. So it's a good way to save money.
Speaking of Shoppers Drug, they sell food as well. And I found if you watch, sometimes there's a label on it says 30% off, and they have big jars of peanut butter. Peanut butter is a good protein. And where peanut butter, the large 500 grams is sometimes $8 in other supermarkets. A lot of times they have it on special for $4. And if you keep it in the refrigerator, it doesn't spoil. Another thing that I found, there is money in your bank and credit card statements. I think it's a really good idea for seniors to not go paperless. I've gone paperless on almost all my bills, but I got a credit card bill back, and in going through it, I found 3 different things, charges that have been made against the card. I don't even take this card out of the house. I keep it in a closed drawer. And 3 charges have been made against it on Amazon. So I called Amazon. They said, I don't know how anybody could be doing that because we don't have the card registered. So I called the fraud protection on the card, and they reverse that money back into my account. So likewise, I looked at my bank statements, and I found that there have been times that they have made mistakes. So I got $150 credited back into my account. So it's worth getting the paper copy because you have to do a lot of fiddling around, on the computer. Taking the bus, we have that orange card, but I found some streets, like if you're going along Fraser between 40th and all along there are fruit and vegetable markets. And so some days I'll just go to get fruits and vegetables, and I'll cook up, stir fry a bunch of vegetables, and then freeze some in portions. So when it's a day I don't feel like cooking something, if I've got some ground beef, then I've got a little package of stir fried vegetables in the freezer.
Perfect.
I find that I go to different low-cost food stores like No Frills, and other stores like a Buy Low and places like that, and get things when they're on sale. But I find I do a lot of bouncing around to different stores, and that way I get, what's on special at each different place, and that saves a lot of money. And that also I try to find out, get flyers before the sales so I can do my homework and decide what I want to get. I might not get all of the items, but at least I've got a list of what I'd like to get.
This whole area of saving money, it really, really made me think. Because I think I come from a frugal background that I think actually goes back to, on my mom's side, that they were Mennonites. And I was raised where we always had a compost, a pile, a garden. Food waste was, minimized. Even my mom was into environmentalism, which, back in, people forget that there was an environmental movement back in the 40s. And so again, waste and living simply, something that I think I learned as a kid, after I got over being, a 15-year-old fashionista, I definitely learned to do thrift shopping. And when I was thinking about saving money, it made me think about my friendships. And I have my one friend, Sue, and even though she is a generous soul, and I'm wearing a beautiful pendant that she bought new for my 65th birthday, Sue haunts alleys. She found a huge tub full of a yellow alder plant that it anchors my patio garden. In fact, sometimes I have to tell her, no more pots. But if you find any more soil, she brings everything. And ever since I've known her, she's volunteered at a thrift store. And I want to say for her that volunteerism is for her also social good. She donates blood regularly. Do you know anyone else who does? So it's not just that she's into getting stuff cheap. But anyway, I have benefited from her interest. And I realized that, it's fun to have a friend to talk about getting good deals. And I just have to accept that when I die, people are going to say, Kathy loved getting a good deal. And Charlotte, I just want to say, I live next to a Shoppers, which is next to a No Frills. So that means when I get optimum points at Shoppers, I can go right to No Frills and buy food with them, which the problem with just having points in Shoppers is that it's sort of limiting. I mean, you can only buy so many acetaminophen and expensive razors and et cetera. I would rather spend my savings on food. But anyway, I am a frugalista. I am, so I'm not exactly proud of it, but I own it.
Bravo, frugalista.
Well, good for you.
Frugalista, that's a new name, new word.
I wanted to mention that they were talking about recycling, and it started when I was a little child. And I'll never forget, we'd get boxes of clothes because we were the biggest family in the neighborhood. And we had to take off zippers, buttons, everything, recycle. And then with all the material that was left over, we took it to the rag man, and we got so much money per pound and that.
Speaking of going to the store, sometimes people have a negative thought about carrying a bunch of bags of things, but I found at No Frills and possibly other stores, you could bring a simple little bag of bottles back to the store and they give you money for it. So I thought, that's not so bad. I'm carrying a bag there anyhow and they're all empty, so I can start to just shift my attitude and take them in and get that money.
Another way that you can save money is I find that the Vancouver Community College at Pender and Cambie is a great place. They have a bakery and they have a hairdressing salon as well as a aesthetics salon. And so you can buy baked goods. Oftentimes they offer meat as well. And they're at very nominal prices because this is part of their student program. They also have a fine dining restaurant as well as a cafeteria. And all of these are funded by the students themselves. And the prices are just unbelievable. I can get my hair cut for $8, $6 with a senior's discount. And you can get I can get my hair colored for $35, which is really reasonable, and you can get your manicure done for less than $20. So it's really a good place, and the girls the students there are fantastic. They love to participate, and they're very engaging, and it's a really good experience.
Hey, Mayumi, I went there for my 70th birthday and treated myself to a massage, a facial, a haircut, and it was the services were really good. And I mean, I've had lots and lots of massage in my life, and it was a very, very good massage. The facial was also really good. And it cost what it would have cost one time to go to, get a regular haircut. Yeah, so it was great. And I also I utilize their dental hygiene program. They clean your teeth, x-ray your teeth, the dentist looks at them, and then they'll consult with your regular dentist, at least for me, if there's other work that needs to be done. And I realized when I retired that I miss being around young people because that was part of my work. And so I actually get very attached to these young hygienists. And I look at the time that it takes as volunteer work. And also because I have a background in education, I find the training really, really interesting. So for me, on a non-X-ray year, that saves me $300 a year. And if you have someone cleaning your teeth over a 10-hour period, you have the best cleaned teeth in Vancouver. There's no possible way even a skilled hygienist can clean your teeth properly in an hour. So,
another thing is my husband and I just found this Gas Buddy. It's a website where everybody punches in their gas price for when they fill up, and it's sort of up to the minute gas pricing and what's the best price in the Lower Mainland for gas, because gas is so expensive. We just paid $107 for our stupid Volkswagen, so it's crazy expensive. And so with Gas Buddy, you find out where the cheapest gas is, and which is maybe just around the corner from you, or maybe on your way to someplace else, and you can just go there and gas up. Also, Safeway has a program where if you spend money at Safeway, they offer a coupon for up to 6 cents a liter off your gas. So for people who have cars, it saves quite a bit of money.
I made the decision a few months ago to not renew the lease on my car, and that was a shocker, but I've lost weight because I have to walk up this big Fraser Hill to get up to. I live close to the place where there's a Shoppers Drug Mart on one end and the No Frills. And so 2 or 3 times a week, I'm climbing that hill, and I feel my heart feels stronger, my feet feel better. But to get help figure out the numbers. When I put together what I was paying for my lease plus the monthly gas, that was over $500 a month. So the times that I have to take a taxi, I felt, hey, this is a third of what I was spending. So those days when it's raining, and I don't have, the handy dirt, I think that's the other thing, finding out about the different services. They say on 211 or 311 that there's a lot of free or low-cost travel for seniors, but I want to encourage people to call that number and say they need to get it up to date, because every number referred me to someplace else. But there are some services that are supposed to help you if you are looking for a job, if you're going for interviews, where you could get reduced transit. But to justify that separation from your car, just do the numbers, and you find you spend much less for a taxi than for a car daily.
Talking about Handy Dart, I've been taking Handy Dart for a year and a half, and it's rocked my world. I was told for many years when I went in and out of hospital to take Handy Dart, and so now that I'm taking it, it's totally amazing, because I used to get tickets, which are cheaper than just paying regular fares, or you can pay the money, but you pay the same as on a bus. But now my daughter, 6 months ago, got me a monthly pass, and that's rocked my world, because I can take Handy Dart as many times a day for the whole month for one price. And it saves a lot of money, because I do dialysis 3 or 4 days a week. And so I have to pay, so that amount alone, I was paying that, which is like at least $100. And then I was taking other trips by Handy Dart on top of that. So with this pass, I pay $95, and it's just amazing how much money I save, because I just use it a lot, way more than, before. So it's great.
I should mention, too, that for haircuts, the best price is no price at all, and that's at 411 the last Tuesday of every month. And Rita is a fantastic hairdresser, and she's a bright, bubbly gal who cuts my hair, and she does a great job. And all you have to do is make an appointment.
I'm sure most of you have done the same thing, that you have the card for the community centers, which is, you get it. It's called
Access card.
The leisure access card. If you're, I don't know what the income cutoff is, but anyway, they do ask you about your income. But it's really great, because a lot of the classes and stuff you get for half price. Okay. And because I'm spending so much time at 411 these days, and occasionally doing the yoga there, I'm not using the community centers as much. But they do have good programs for and services for seniors. Yeah.
Well, that just about wraps up this 411 Powered by Age podcast. Thanks so much for listening, and thanks to all the podcast producers, all the other kind participants, and the guys at Podstream Studio who helped make this all happen.